Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane for this Bledisloe Cup Test match between the All Blacks and Australia. And as you can see, tremendous support for New Zealand in this tremendous stadium, the headquarters of Queensland Rugby League. And my word, there's an enormous contingent of New Zealand supporters over here on a rather an overcast sort of a day. The wind will be blowing down the ground from left to right once we get underway. There's Jim Fleming, who will be refereeing the game. A lot has been spoken about the referee, and Sean Fitzpatrick about to bring the All Blacks out onto what used to be called Lang Park, but now Suncorp Stadium. There we are, Craig Dowd, Robin Brooke, Ian Jones. Big test for these guys before they head off to South Africa, and onto the field they come. So Jonah Lomu taking his place. A bit of doubts earlier this week about whether he would or not, but the good news is that he has. And in fact, there we are. The big news is that Jonah Lomu will play. He reported the knee 100% fit this morning. So the same 15, which won by a big margin in Wellington, will take the field this afternoon. The big hope is, of course, that Andrew Mertens will regain some of the confidence he may have lost in Christchurch during the match against the Springboks last weekend. Michael Jones played many games against Australia over the years. Well, at Wellington, the Australians were out on the field very early, but here's John Eales. Now there'll be just as big an ovation as Eales brings the Aussies onto the park. So the Australians onto Suncorp Stadium, and there's the man who's come in for Tim Horan, Richard Toms, New Zealand born. And there's the Australian side, of course, suffering a bad body blow during the week, the loss of Tim Horan. But his replacement, Richard Toms, at number 12, had an excellent Super 12 with New South Wales from the Wellington Test 3 weeks ago. Australia have a completely new inside-back combination of Gregan, Howard and Toms, and the side will be led by John Eales for the 6th time. Now one of the more discussed aspects of the week, whether the All Blacks in fact will do the haka. They told us this morning that they would. And let's see how the Australians approach this. An opportunity to welcome to the commentary Laurie Mains. And Laurie, really perfect conditions.
Yes, it's ideal for a big day today. And I was just thinking as the All Blacks were coming out of their dressing room and seeing Sean Fitzpatrick lead them out, what a tremendous advantage he gives this All Black side. Being such a great player, he's now a great leader. And the confidence that he has and the strength that he has as a player and a personality really just lifts, particularly those younger players on the side.
Well, the Australians have decided to stay inside their 22, and so the haka will be done by the All Blacks on halfway. Well, apologies if you didn't hear too much of the haka, but you could certainly see it. And I can tell you the Australians were a long way away, Laurie Mains.
Yes, I mean, it's. I think it's better that they don't get into a confrontational situation. That just winds the All Blacks up even more. And I think probably from their point of view, they were better getting into a huddle and concentrating on their motivation and their focus rather than worrying about the haka and letting it put them off their game.
So there we are, a look at the reserves for the match. And Glenn Osborne there at number 16. And he would have taken the place of Jonah Lomu if Lomu hadn't been fit to play in the game. There's Jim Fleming. So much has been said about the performance of Ray Megson in Christchurch last weekend. He's running the touch today, along with Ken McCartney and Jim Fleming as the referee. All three from Scotland. Frank Bunce, his 39th international for the All Blacks. Vastly experienced in midfield with Walter Little and Frank Bunce. Ian Jones and Olo Brown. So Matthew Burke is about to get this match underway. There's Pat Howard and Richard Toms in the foreground. And away we go at Suncorp Stadium. Matthew Burke with the kick out. Controlled by John Eales, so they have the ball already inside the 22, and New Zealand have a lot of forwards to get across there yet. And a good start by the Australians.
Yes, again, that's a New Zealand kick-off, and what better player to be chasing it than John Eales. Tremendous ball skills, and he read that one very well. And this is an encouraging start for Australia, and will give them confidence.
On your own players.
All Blacks ball to the first line-out. David Wilson off the back against Josh Kronfeld. Gareth Morgan at 4. Rather low and taken in fact, by the Australians.
No, he's not. No, he's not. Back you go. Stay back. Stay back. Stay back.
Rather slowly for George Grieger. Now Howard. Flicking it straight across to Tune. They wanted to give him an early look at the ball. Beautifully controlled by Michael Jones, just out from the 22 in All Black territory. Controlled for Justin Marshall, and the first nudge by Andrew Mertens, and he got good distance to Mertens. Needs a real confidence booster in the first few minutes.
Yes, he didn't hit that as clean as he would like to have, but Andrew looked very tense when the players took the field, and that's not like him. I just hope that things go well for him early on, such as that kick, a couple of right bounces, so that he gets his confidence and get into the game, because what a marvellous player he is when he's got that confidence and the game's flowing for him.
Thrown by Foley. Eales. They need a big game from their captain this afternoon to the Aussies. That's the 10-metre line, Australian territory.
Back, number 5, Black, back!
Just in the second minute of the game.
Use it, please!
If there is any wind here today, so favouring the Australians in the first half.
I said use it, scrum it down, please. Black ball, let's stop.
Yes, the Australian crowd not happy about that, but the referee judged that the maul had stopped, and he told the Australians to clear that ball, and they didn't. They regenerated the maul, and so they lost it.
Stay back, stay back, stay back.
Held in the back by Zinzan. They've all come to the blind side. Marshall.
Easy. Hey, listen. Hey, stop. Hey, back you go. Back you go. Hey, stop mucking about. Look, just keep the scrummage down and calm it down. Okay, wait. I'm going out of here. Wait, wait. Back. Hey, just calm down. I'm looking at you. Hey,
Andrew Heath on this side against Craig Dowd. Battle on the other side, Richard Harry and Olo Brown. Good solid looking All Black scrum here. Trying to keep it straight, Zinzan, but not able to do so. Now the referee wants to talk to somebody here.
The ball went up. You don't rub your face in his face. Okay, it's against you. Once the ball popped, he rubbed his face in his opponent's face. I'm not having any of that.
Rubbed his face in Sean Fitzpatrick's face. Well, that like John Allen last week.
Well, I don't think that's just a bit of byplay that goes on in the front row, and I don't think it's for a referee to be getting involved in that. I just hope we don't see the game stop-start and what we might call pedantic refereeing taking over, like we saw in the second half last week.
Hey, calm down. Don't antagonise. You were talking to him.
I mean, you can be pretty confident that Fitzy's going to give as much as he's taken.
Early chance then for Andrew Mertens. Struck it beautifully. What a good start for Andrew Mertens. And just on 4 minutes gone, and the All Blacks lead by 3-0.
That's a good start for Andrew. He did hit that ball beautifully, and that's just exactly what he needs to relax him and let him feel like he's contributing. His biggest concern is if he makes a mistake or something doesn't go right for him, he worries about the contribution he's making to the team, and that'll give him a real lift.
First blood to the All Blacks. Again, they split the forwards, the Australians. This time down to Zinzan Brook, just out from the 22. Well set for Marshall. Struggling to find support. Finally found it from Josh Kronfeld.
Back you go. Stay back.
Marshall not finding the line, down to Burke. Mertens has hung back with support there from Zinzan Brook. And so far in the game, no early touches for Jonah Wamu. He's been lurking out on the right wing side.
Move down.
But he's just out of shot at the moment, coming back to the left. So Michael Foley. That was Australian ball. New Zealand have done well to grab it. Now Mertens. A little straight across to Lomu. Big tackle by Ben Choon. That's what they put him out there for. And the ball was played on the ground. Just a little bit going on here. Michael Bryle is number 8 and Walter Little. I didn't quite see what started that, but what a tackle from Choon.
Yes, that was an excellent tackle from Ben Choon. And Jonah made the mistake of hanging onto the ball and getting to his feet, holding onto the ball. And that's a real shame, because Australia had the opportunity there to equalise. Referee Fleming had given them the penalty, but it looks like one of them has transgressed. We may see here what it was.
Tremendous tackle by Choon. Oh, there we go. Michael Bryle right into that. He's going to get the penalty reversed, I think. Looked unprovoked.
All he saw was a punch.
Well, we don't see what started it. Michael Bryle was very tense and hyped up when the All Blacks were doing the haka, and I mean that's silly. He's cost his team a chance to equalise, and he's a bit lucky to be staying on the field, I think, after such a prolonged attack, and he would certainly be on Skid Row if he transgresses again.
He's a pretty fiery individual. Very good tackler. But that looked like an unprovoked attack on
Thanks, Ken.
one of the All Blacks.
Gentlemen. Hey. Back you go.
Laurie, that was throwing away 3 points.
It was, and Australia just can't afford to have those lapses.
Fitzpatrick looking for Ian Jones. Beautifully taken again. Taken down by Michael Jones. Bit of a loose pass up for Lomu.
Here it comes. Back you go, Australia.
Channeled back.
No,
Kronfeld. Just losing their footing on this surface. There has been the odd show of rain today, but nothing too serious.
There's a good meaty sole of grass on there, and I think maybe with the dampness of a little bit of rain, some of the players are slipping a little bit. That's not soft ground, that really is just the length of the grass.
Merton sends them to a line-out. 3 points to 0. He's taken in here by Kronfeld. Let's have a look and see what happened.
Yes, he's judged number 3 for Australia. Was coming around offside, and the Australian coach would be very disappointed with this. These lapses in discipline and control that are giving away penalties are just really stopping Australia making some impact on the game.
Variation by the All Blacks, taken in by Craig Dowd. Now Marshall hands it up to Zinzan Brook. Little variation here. Gregan going back and calls for the fair catch. And that's well done by George Gregan. Clever little kick by Zinzan. It was almost into no man's land. Gregan looking now for Burke. The sort of things to expect from Zinzan Brook. But well read by Gregan. All Blacks getting a lot of early throws to the line-out.
That's okay, here we go.
John Eales against Ian Jones, that's in the middle. Looking for Jones off the top to Robin Brook. Olo Brown hitting a good tackle, and he lost it forwards. Well, you don't often see that from Olo Brown, but it was a good solid tackle, and it jerked the ball clear. Tackler was Michael Bryle. He is a very strong tackler. There's Bryle going straight ahead.
No, they're not, they're okay.
Howard. Christian Cullen. Using Lomu. Brave stuff here from the All Blacks. Out of 3 or 4. Allows the rest of the All Blacks to get behind him. The power of Jonah Lomu. Untidy for Mertens, but he's tidied nicely. And in the end, they did it pretty well.
Yes, that's a big advantage of Jonah. He realised that there probably wasn't a lot on for running the ball, attempting to run the ball further. He's so big and strong that he can commit 2 or 3 players and give time for the All Black forwards to get there to win what is very controlled ball when you win it in a ruck situation like this.
9 minutes gone. This match coming to you exclusively live on Sky. New Zealand ahead by 3-0. So there's the third line-out win for Australia. .15 on the Australian side of halfway. Gregan, Campese standing in at first 5'8", towering kick. Real test here for Cullen. But he has beautiful skills. His own 10-metre line seems to have set it well. Mertens, straight across. Little, again the tackle is solid. They'll play an advantage here. Campese taking on Lomu now. Tune, danger man here. George Gregan, now the chasers are coming, led by Tune and Campese. But Justin Marshall is first man back. And the first real opportunity for Australia.
Yes, that was a good counter-attack from Australia, and tremendous covering from Justin Marshall. He picked that really well and saved a try.
Big bang downfield, down for Joe Roth. And Zinzan Brook hovering back there. Let's rip with the left boot, and a good kick.
Amazing skills of the man. I mean, he'll never stop surprising us, but he also picked that extremely well.
Now have a look at this little kick forward by Ben Tune. Had a quick look, summed up the situation, went after it himself, but Justin Marshall was able to get back and save the day for the All Blacks.
Yes, Tune's got all the makings of a really outstanding winger, hasn't he?
Flung away by Brook to Mertens. Good support from Michael Jones. Again, the ball's still clear. Now a chance. Rock down the middle. Tune. Regan. Chased by Cullen. George Gregan gets the first try of the game. As the ball spilled loose from the All Blacks, they've been punished.
Well, we have a look at this. The support. Yes, great footwork again. Body swerve by Ben Tune, and Gregan was left of that overlap. Now we know that he's pretty quick, and while Cullen made tremendous ground to get there, he just didn't quite have the space. But in the ruck just prior to that New Zealand lost the ball, Michael Jones, I think it was, took it in, and the support just seemed a little bit slow. Here we go, we get a chance to have a look at it now. Good support play from Michael Jones. Goes in there. Now where is the All Black support? And it's a bit slow getting there, and an Australian player was quite legally, was on his feet, was able to flick that ball away. That's good counter-attack and good play from the Australian loose forwards.
They were always a player or two short in trying to defend this, and George Gregan chased across by Cullen. Didn't quite arrive in time, and that's Australia's first try against the All Blacks this season.
And I'm sure the All Blacks didn't want to give Australia that confidence.
So the Gregan try not converted. Well, that's giving the Australians a lift, no doubt about that. 13 minutes gone. 5-3, the match coming to you exclusively live on Sky. Again, the All Blacks split it as well. They send Robin Brook down, taps it back nicely. Loose ball for Little, beautifully picked up by Walter Little. In there to help him is Craig Dowd. Up now for Kronfeld. Mertens. There is a bit of a breeze out there, just holding up. Bounces back for Brook. Lovely skills again to bring it under control. Now Little could open up here. Oh, solid tackling again. Michael Foley in there to assist. And the All Blacks have turned it over. They've turned it over a few times. Now Howard. Flung to the ground by Little. Regan to the safety of the 22-metre line for Burke.
It's pretty hotly contested close in there. Grant players are making their tackles, and there's real fierce competition going on for the ball. And it's surprising so early in a match to have seen so many turnovers. Now, unfortunately, most of those turnovers have been to Australia's benefit.
Robin Brooke gets a decent shove out of the line there. Referee's let it go, though. Mertens. He was playing an advantage anyway.
Just wait. Hold it. Hooker's injured.
Injury here to Michael Foley, the Australian hooker, so they'll stop play and the players get a chance for a breather.
Yes, and I think they'll need it too. It's pretty serious contestability out there. And I just going back to Michael Foley, the player that is receiving some attention. He was out there and was part of that big tackle that was made on Walter Little. Yes, here we go, having a look at it now.
Gregan and Foley, the two of them.
But I've seen a tackle like that from George Gregan in the past that I didn't enjoy much either.
I bet you have. Justin Marshall feeds the scrum just in Australian territory. 5-3, Australia leads. Brooke tries to put Marshall into the gap. Support coming from Lomu. Starting to get more involved now, Jonah Lomu. He wasn't really in it in the first 5 minutes. And a big peel on the whistle indicates a penalty.
It was coming back, shut it.
It was on its way back and it was stopped by one of the Australians.
Well, again, there's been, I'll say, around about 4 penalties have been awarded against Australia in those situations, and that is a lack of discipline from them that is costing them dearly.
So Andrew Mertens will place this one on the 10-metre line. He struck his first one beautifully. Daniel Herbert, part of the Australian bench. Sam Payne down there as well.
I'll pick this one to go straight down the middle, Grant.
Good spotting. That's another one. 2 for Andrew Mertens. New Zealand supporters delighted. And the All Blacks back in front by 6-5.
That's what amazing scenes there were coming to the ground an hour or so before kickoff to see all of those New Zealand supporters around the streets. There was literally thousands of them. One was working hard to pick an Australian.
Well, the reason the game was transferred to Suncourt Stadium away from Ballymore was to enable more people to get in. 40,000 here. Away goes Kronfeld. Tremendous run by Kronfeld. Lays it back beautifully. Wilson goes in, plays halfback, hands it up to Lomu. Can't have been Wilson, must be Marshall. Wilson still lurking way out on the left-hand side. Turned over again. As Morgan thumped it up for Australia. Now Gregan up to Foley. Been well involved early in the match, Michael Foley. Gregan. Still in the field of play. And good work by Cullen. Stayed in good support with Mertens. And the line out will be 20 metres from the All Black line.
Yes, Andrew Mertens did well to get back there so quickly, but I'm a little bit concerned about the All Blacks, Grant. There's the turnovers again, but they just seem to be having trouble establishing what their pattern is for this game, and Australia are making it very difficult for them to get anything going.
Eales has stayed well back, but he's still got it. Can he get it on the Australian side, though? It's all over the place. Gregan frees it up. Howard. The All Blacks a bit thin on this side. Roth. Toms. Howard again. Back for Tune. Defence is gathering quickly. Australia threatening. 6-5, the All Blacks lead. They've held it up. And it's been spilled by Daniel Manu as Marshall skids it away down the touchline. Lovely clearance. Well, there we are. That is a significant number of turnovers by the All Blacks. Remember, we've only been going for 18 minutes.
Yes, at test level, you would expect to see only that number in an entire match.
Daniel Manu didn't play in the Wellington test. Eels, uncontested. Howard. Some early tests here. Cullen waiting inside his 22. Not given the fair catch. Australia's there quickly. Morgan lobs it up for Gregan. Howard running back into the heavy traffic. Ripped away by Kronfeld, having a wow of a start to the game. Really getting involved. Marshall away for Little, shovels it on quickly for Mertens, putting Cullen into the gap. Now Wilson gets a chance. And he smacks it straight at Burke. Well, I wonder whether Jeff Wilson should have taken a few more paces before he made the kick.
Well, two bad decisions there. Firstly, Howard should never have run back into the heavy traffic and isolated himself and given away what was very good ball for Australia. And Jeff Wilson should have hung on to that ball and looked for support.
They can't take Cullen when he's in mid-air, so that probably should have been a penalty as well. Now Cullen's inside the 22. And down to Campese, not out. What's he going to conjure up? Just down to Mertens. And he does get the fair catch from Jim Fleming.
He was fortunate for Australia that he was awarded that fair catch. I think that was really going to open up then. But going back to that tackle on Cullen, the referee made some comment at the time that in his judgment Christian Cullen's feet had gone to ground, and of course the replay showed us that it hadn't, but that's very easy in hindsight. The referee doesn't have the advantage of a replay.
Yes, the old replay does the referees no favours. Now we've got another hold up here. I think it might be Garrick Morgan. This guy knows more about Suncorp Stadium than anybody else on the field. He played for the South Queensland Crushers rugby league team last year, and this is the home ground of that team.
Says he's broken it, mate.
So there's the look at the far stand, if you like. That's the Ron McAuliffe stand at Suncorp Stadium, or Lang Park as most people refer it to. Tim Gavin has come back into the Australian side really as a cover for the lock forwards. And he might just get on the park here too. Morgan coming to the sideline. And Tim Gavin, who made his mark as a number 8.
Well, Australia not going to lose too much. If Tim Gavin has to take the field, he's a very, very good footballer.
Ian Jones jumping off the shoulder. And now this might be worth a go, remembering that it is Australia with the breeze in the first half. They're certainly giving it some consideration, and it looks as though Matthew Burke is going to have a go here. So Tim Gavin makes it onto the field. Probably felt his test career was dead and buried, but called back into the squad just in the last week or so.
Yes, it would appear that Gareth Morgan may well have broken a bone in his hand. It doesn't look like he's just being patched up to come back on. And he is a bit of a loss for Australia, having accepted the ability that Tim Gavin has. Gareth Morgan is a big, strong man who runs well with the ball and is a big influence at scrum time, something like 122 Ks.
Big kick here for Matthew Burke. Certainly get the distance. Goodness gracious. What a great kick.
That's a tremendous kick from Matthew Burke, and he is a sweet striker of the ball, and that'll give Australia a lot of heart.
Magnificent penalty goal by Matthew Burke. So Australia back in front. It's a seesaw battle. 8-6. Tim Gavin will partner John Eales. David Campese, 98th Test match. Eales waiting, beautifully taken. A bit more ginger in the Australian lineup today than we saw in Wellington, and the kick made by Pat Howard.
Well, they've got a lot more focus, Grant, and they're certainly supporting each other in the forwards a lot faster and better than they did in Wellington, and they're contesting with the All Blacks.
Excellent take by John Eales. He managed to come down and hang on to it, put it on the right side. Fitzpatrick looking for Jones. Marshall. Mertens running hard. Back inside to Frank Bunce. Good attacking opportunity here if they can get it back, and they're not going to do that. They were in the process of turning it over anyway. And another penalty, and Burke will come forward and have another shot.
So I come back, to the basic problem that maybe a player felt that he was. Yes, here, if we have a look at this, we just look at the number of Australian players around there, making it very difficult for Frank Bunce, and that's when players tend to transgress the law to make sure they retain the ball. But Australia were actually going to win that one anyway. So we just really, the All Blacks just need to look at their support play. They're a yard off the pace just at the moment.
So there's Garrett Morgan. Looks like his day is done. Haven't had much luck with injuries in recent times when you consider the likes of Kearns, Jason Little, Ewan McKenzie, Tim Horan, Damien Smith.
Yes, they've really been cut apart by injuries, Grant.
That's another magnificent kick.
Well, isn't he a beautiful striker of the ball?
Beautiful rhythm from Matthew Burke, and never any doubt about it at all. Kick-off down to Ben Tune. This is a different Australian side to the one we saw 3 weeks ago. Pat Howard, and they'll go to another line-out. Zinzan Brook looking for a quick throw. So good advantage for the All Blacks in the lineouts. They have had more throws. David Wilson off the back.
Yes, we had a couple early on that went the other way, but largely the teams are winning their own ball.
Taken by Robin Brook. Good support from his brother. Now they lay it back for Marshall. Fires it up for Mertens. Hasn't been too much pressure on Burke so far, but there is a bit here as Wilson comes charging in. Untidy, and Campese manages to get it, but there is a knock on there, and it was knocked forward by Burke. So now the All Blacks have a gilt-edged opportunity inside the 22 and in centre field.
Yes, the way they're lining up, I predict here that they'll go right, away with it, and create an overlap out there. There's a reasonably good show that we'll have Zinni pick it up and feed Justin Marshall to commit Howard and create a 3-on-2 outside him. There's certainly the opportunity there for it.
Right. Controlled. Now he goes. They're going to set the ruck instead. Well, the Australians will be happy, I think. Well, not happy, but certainly 3 is better than maybe 5 or 7.
top. You must activate it quickly. You went down there in the lead.
Andrew Mertens, like Matthew Burke, has been striking the ball particularly well,
You went down in this lead.
but he could throw this one over right in front of the posts.
Just use his hands like that. Okay. Yeah, okay.
Still 12 minutes out from half-time. And Australia with that advantage of 2. They've scored the only try in the match so far, George Gregan. Forwards split again, but once more they go to the left. Taken in by Jones. Starting to make his presence felt, Ian Jones, as he did in Christchurch last weekend. Now there's a New Zealand player isolated, a bit slow to get to him, and might have been a bit lucky to get it back if they do. Play on, says the referee. Richard Toms. Hands it up for Gregan. Hands. Dreadful pass. Snapped up by Michael Jones, Robin Brook, and he might have lost it forward.
You're not on there.
Unfortunately, but for both sides there was errors made, because it was all on for Australia, and then on the counter it was all on for the All Blacks. Had they been able to control that ball and break away with it. But just notice when it does open up a bit and there's a bit of tackling made in midfield, by heavens, it's certainly willing. They're getting into it.
Marshall has Mertens inside the 22-metre line. And that is a very well-timed kick by Andrew Mertens. That relieves a lot of the pressure.
Okay. Anything?
Andrew Mertens already 9 points in this match, starting the game with an average of around about 18
Nice and easy.
per test match. It looks like the Aussies having a committee meeting here. Had it momentarily, but in the end it was into the arms of Eels. Good storming run downfield there by Heath. Now Breyer likes to run with the ball, he's powerful. And he lost it.
Both sides are suffering from those sort of errors that shouldn't happen. It is dry up there, and the ball doesn't appear to be that slippery. And too often it's being lost in tackles, and the teams are losing attacking opportunities. But the All Blacks were opened up again there, and that'll be a concern to them. There's been 2 or 3 occasions when Australia have driven away from rucks and mauls with the ball in hand and been able to break through close in.
Andrew Heath on Richard Cook's injured player. Pushing in, he says.
Well, he's penalised Olo Brown for boring in, and we can't comment from this side because obviously we're looking at the New Zealand loose head. But the referee's made it quite clear that he's penalised Olo Brown for boring in. So hopefully we'll get a look at it from the other side.
Well, it was certainly on the referee's side. It's a real technicality, that one.
Well, it's hard to tell. I mean, sometimes tight head props go in on the hooker along with their own hooker just to put greater pressure on him. But without seeing it, we certainly can't give a conclusive reason for that on that occasion.
Well, The way Matthew Burke has been striking the ball, there should be another formality. No, he's pushed it. Two-point advantage for the Australians. Counting down to half-time, just 7.5 minutes away. Plenty for the All Blacks to think about at the break. Mertens pushing it a bit too far, perhaps, as Daniel Manu takes it down. Gregan away for Tune. Good head-on tackle by Marshall. Oliver Brown was there too. The crowd not very happy with the decision of Ken McCartney, the touch judge, that they were in fact in touch.
Isn't Justin Marshall's defensive work being outstanding so far in this game, Grant?
Down, please.
Yes, it has. The All Blacks have missed a few tackles. Can't say that Marshall's one of those players. Ian Jones stepping in at number 2. Better drive going here. Away for Mertens. Little hits it hard. Supporters there from Kronfeld. Jones goes in to help him. Now Lomu gets a chance to stretch the legs. Over halfway he goes. Marshall to Kronfeld. Wilson has a go outside Campese. And the veteran makes the tackle. His 29th Bledisloe Cup match, David Campese.
We'll just have a look at this one here. Shaky, but the tackle was completed.
Campo playing out on the left-hand side to avoid Lomu. Now Howard, or Toms. Little's onto him, but Burke's recovered well. He's got Tune in support. Burke could go all the way. He will go all the way. What a try.
Well, so often we see that mistakes made by a team with the ball confuses the defence and opens up an opportunity, and that was one classic example. A brilliant solo effort from Matthew Burke. But we'll have a look at this in a moment, right back where it started, and just see if and where it confused the All Black defence.
Just count the number of missed tackles. 1, 2, 3. Lomu chasing, looking out to cover the support. 4 missed tackles, and in the end Matthew Burke was able to run it out himself, and that's a superb try.
It's interesting to see there too. As we have another look at this one, we may see Ben Tune running himself into position. And initially he was staying outside to take the overlap pass. Then when he saw it closing down on the outside, he moved himself inside Matthew Burke to give him another option. There he goes. That's thinking play. Every time I see Ben Tune play, he impresses me as a thinking player who's got silky movement when he's running with the ball.
Greg Smith looks happy. Why wouldn't he be? 16-9, 2 tries to 0.
I'm not sure that was a happy look, but maybe one of satisfaction. He would be enjoying that. He's having a big day, Matthew Burke.
Not able to convert, but one of the damage done by the kicker himself is Alan Border, former Australian Test cricket captain, of course.
Great Australian sportsman.
Fantastic. And he'd be enjoying this. 16 points to 9. Coming up towards half-time. We're just under 3 minutes away. All Blacks line again, left and right. Robin Brooke up there. Playing an advantage All Blacks way. First knock on by the Australians. Well, there'll be plenty to say at half-time, Laurie.
Yes, there will. There's a number of issues that the All Blacks really do need to address.
Okay, break up. Break up! Props up, far side gentlemen. Move back! 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 Crouch, and in. keep him out, keep him out.
Lamu is waiting at first 5'8".
It's a free kick, you know me.
Well, he ruled that it went in and out. Taken quickly by Gregan. Manu over the top of Mertens. And Marshall gets in. And he's gone high. But he's not scared to make a tackle, Justin Marshall. He took on a bloke a lot bigger than himself, but he jumped a bit high.
Yes, I think a lot of it was caught. You know, he was caught expecting Andrew Mertens to make that tackle, and he was caught standing a bit upright and not prepared to drive in. And these things are often spontaneous actions. Justin Marshall wouldn't do that deliberately. And while he had to be penalised, you know, I don't think the referee you know, took it too seriously. But they're the situations players get caught in. They're expecting someone before them to make a tackle, and even when we saw Matthew Burke's try before, 2 or 3 All Blacks were expecting the player before them to make the tackle, and therefore weren't in the position themselves to make it. And that's how you rely on your fellow teammates, you know, in those defensive situations.
So Matthew Burke is on a very, very wide angle. Here's another look at it. Yeah, well, he had to be penalised, didn't he?
Yes, he did have to be penalised, but you know, I don't think there was anything malicious in that. But potentially it's dangerous, and the referee did the right thing by getting into it early. Thank heavens he did blow his whistle very strong and very early. Otherwise, the players themselves could have started to take the law into their hands. One gets a feeling, Grant, that particularly with the Australians, but maybe with both sides, that they're just ready to flare. I think the Australians psychologically making a point to the All Blacks that they're not frightened of them, that they're prepared to get in and mix it if they need to.
Big thump again by Burke, but he's away to the left this time. And the hooter has sounded, and in fact that is the whistle for half-time. So the Australians go to the break, having had the advantage of the wind in the first half. Reasonably significant win too. They've scored the only 2 tries, and they lead by 16-9.
So just as we come back to that, the breeze will help New Zealand get field position a bit. It's not a breeze that will interfere too much with the way Australia will play into it. Their kicks won't make quite so much ground if they're kicking defensively, but it won't affect their play. Whereas with New Zealand, it'll just give them the advantage of certainly being able to get better field position from defensive positions.
Well, both coaches had plenty to say at half-time, and away we go in the second spell. Mertens kicking out, and the ball bounces the Australians' way.
Okay, it's not coming. Held up.
Held up, and it's All Black ball. So that's a good position to have a scrum early in the second half.
Yes, and I think that was Michael Jones in there to make that tackle, and doesn't he do it so well? He rolled that player onto his back, so he couldn't get it to ground.
Good-looking All Black scrum here. Marshall. Mertens to Little. Back to Cullen into the gap. Met head on by Campese. Couldn't hang on to him, though. Ball lost forward again by the All Blacks. Another turnover.
We're going to need to see a great deal of urgency from the All Blacks in this first 10 minutes, and I'm sure they realise that they have to lift their game quite a bit and get some pattern into it. And I'm sure we're going to see that urgency in this first 10 minutes. They can really do without continuation of those mistakes, Grant, to turn the ball over.
Never said engage. Stand back.
Let's give a big
gap, please, gentlemen. Stand back.
We'll have an opportunity in the second half to watch Richard Harris and Olo Brown. Remembering, of course, that Tim Gavin is
Always
in
out. Stay
Regan's
still.
kick is straight up in the air. And lost forward by Wilson this time.
Forward. Goal ball. Come on, gentlemen, let's have it still. Goal ball. Seconds on 10. Wait. Crouch. Engage.
All Black scrum look to have Australia under pressure.
Out, far side. Hands off.
See if they can do it again.
Yes, these scrums are very messy. There's a lot of contestability and jockeying for position in the front rows that is probably the start of the problem, but the referee's really having trouble here getting discipline.
Hey! You never said you weren't ready. Right, this scrum's lasted long enough. I want it in this. Hold it. Into the crouch.
You're losing patience shortly, Jim Fleming.
Wait, crouch. Engage.
Right,
That's
this
it.
time, let's see.
Stay down, stay bound.
Ryle, held by Marshall. Zinzan Brook gets in behind as well.
He's on, not offside, he's not offside. Shut it. Back.
Nice work by Howard, but the kick's not too good. Now for Cullen in space. Cullen gets in after it, challenges Eels. Now it's Bryant.
Hands off, Black, hands off.
Hands in there from the All Blacks.
Listen, one of those frustrating things, Grant, the referee was calling them to get their hands off it, and why don't they listen rather than give away a penalty?
And Peasy likes to take them quickly. Very stop-start beginning to the second spell. Match coming to you exclusively live on Sky. Eels to Gregan. Howard. Richard Toms. Manu, nice change. Gregan. Playing a big advantage here, Jim Fleming. I think he's still playing it.
Okay, back here, please.
Long advantage.
Go ball. Number 15. Numbers in the line out.
Oh, yes, he was calling numbers in the line out. I don't know. I mean, this is where I have some difficulty with these decisions. The Australians had won the ball. They were going to win that ball in that ruck. I think it would have been just as good to let the game go.
Taken up by Foley.
Don't collapse it. Hit it from the side, lad.
And they win it from the side, the All Blacks.
Offside, get out of the side. Run to the Eagles' foot. Number 6.
So they're calling that penalty against Michael Jones, hitting in from the side. Again, it's on the other side. We may see it on this replay. Good drive from Australia. Australia are driving well on those that close quarter play, where they're getting 3 players around that ball carrier very quickly and very tight, and that's allowing them to drive that wedge through the middle. It's a terribly important kick in the context of this game. If Australia score first points after the break, going into the wind is going to give them a tremendous lift, and it just opens the score up and makes it that much harder for New Zealand to get back.
Looks good. Right on target today, Matthew Burke. And a 10-point advantage for Australia after about 4 minutes in the second spell. Robin Brook leading the charge, knocks it down, knocked it back too.
Hands off it! Hands off it!
Marshall hooks it out. Mertens. Burke waits. Just about right. Oh, beautiful.
That's a magnificent piece of play from Matthew Burke.
Taking it quickly. And Campese unleashes a kick.
Yes, we just have a look at the perfect skills from Matthew Burke there. His eye totally fixed on the ball and getting himself up above the surrounding players to have a clear catch at it.
Fitzpatrick. Oh, clean take by Eels off a New Zealand throw. 5 metres All Black territory. Manu. certainly kept the intensity up early in the second half. Toms. Oh, they read that. Infield to Bryle. Big tackle on Michael Bryle. A couple of All Blacks hit him. I think Michael Jones was one of them.
Yes, doesn't he read it just so well where to be to make those crucial tackles? And it wasn't good skills from Australia there to run straight into him. You just never seem to come off on top.
Down the blind side, Cullen can't get into the gap. They've covered him well.
Listen, didn't George Gordon move very quickly to make that tackle on Christian Cullen? Very tough position there. New Zealand penalised for not releasing the ball quickly enough, and fair enough, but it's a difficult position for a player to be in when the support just isn't there quickly enough to give him the confidence to let it go, knowing for his side to win it.
Jones contested, but not able to get it. Toms, change of direction. Brook makes the tackle on Roth. Can't hang on though. It's okay, says the ref. Now it's clear. Ball could have moved at Andrew Mertens. There was an overlap. Burke going back. Well, he's having one of those days, isn't he?
That's incredible. I mean, that's not been able to come off that. It was a hugely risky kick with 3 All Blacks in the vicinity. But it was an overlap there for New Zealand. They certainly had a 3-on-2, and there was an opportunity, and maybe that kick shouldn't have gone in.
Fitzpatrick. Oh, some pushing going on there. Another Australian win though. Toms runs into Kronfeld. Quick change of direction. Roth taps it ahead. Foley stayed back and he's picked it out on the full, Joe Roth. Twice in the second half on New Zealand ball, Australia's won the lineout.
Yes, if they're going to get their game going and put some pressure on Australia, they just can't afford to be giving away that sort of ball.
Jones pulls back. Good ball for Marshall. Zinzak. Tackle made by Pat Howard. Good one. Marshall probing. Cleverly trapped by Burke, and here he goes again. Talk about a dream game.
Well, he can do no wrong today. He's certainly fulfilling all the promise that he's shown over the last couple of years, and he's been a very decisive factor in the way this game is running today. And of course, it gives us the players in front of him, but particularly his forward pack, such a great lift when they see that sort of play coming from the back.
Jones making the call near the back of the lineup. Well, he's got him. Might say, Laura, it's taken a while.
It has. There's just a bit too much contesting in there. But the Australians have got their tails up in the air at the moment, and they really are fighting and having to go at everything to stay on top. And it wasn't John Eales who pushed Ian Jones in. I think it was the player behind him. But when a referee, makes you wonder a little bit about players. The referee was very particular about that line out, and sometime before it got underway, and those players should have known that he was going to be watching it, the action very closely.
Fitzpatrick to the 3-man line out. Oh, Hills again. That time the throw wasn't good enough. Back to Campese. Not often that Sean Fitzpatrick gets the throw wrong. But it's worked out okay. Scrum New Zealand ball. Mertens to Little. Lamu. They tackled him well today. Zinzan Brook is the first man there, and they turned it over again.
First knock on against Black.
First knock on against the All Blacks.
Black. No advantage. Yellow ball.
Yes, again, it must have been lost forward at the end of that tackle. Yes, referee Fleming has just called that. It was lost forward in the tackle. And that's a lead off for Australia. And this is what's stopping New Zealand getting its pattern going. They just can't get a continuity of possession to put Australia under any real pressure. And it's amazing that with this far into a test match involving the All Blacks that we haven't seen any scrummaging at all in that 10-metre area from the Australian goal line. And that's something the All Blacks continually play for, to create the pressure.
Crouch. Wait.
A lot of time being wasted getting these scrums down. Finally.
Stay. It's gone through 90. Re-scrum. Goal ball. Hey, crouch. And it. You're pushing before the ball comes in, Black. No, I'm serious. Push it before the ball comes in. Just stand. I want
So
it
against
still.
the All Blacks for the early push. Quickly taken by Mertens. Away from Marshall. Little trying to shift it out into midfield. Oh, Lamu, that was intended for Cullen. And Jonah got his hand in the road. He wasn't sure whether it was for him or not.
Right, the ball's away. Let's stop mucking him. Wait.
Frustrating time for John Hart.
Stay back. Stay.
Tom's running hard at Mertens. Well controlled by Wilson. Regan. For Tune. He's got a ton of pace. But Justin Marshall has been outstanding in cover defence. And he saves the day again.
There's tremendous defence from Justin Marshall, but my word, Gregan read that very well, had a look, and seemed to have plenty of time to pop that kick through.
Crowd of 40,107 here at Suncorp. Watching the Australians lead by 10. Bryle this time. A line-out variation for the Australians. Good stuff here. The All Blacks can't afford to take it down. It's come anyway. Gregan, Howard. Rock drops it, and what's the call? Penalty against the All Blacks. They pulled it down.
Yes, and he did give plenty of warning. The referee, well before that maul did collapse, he warned them not to pull it down. Often, of course, it's very hard to hear in there, and sometimes mauls collapse, players lose their footing, and it looks like they've tried to drag it down, and they haven't necessarily done that. But he's certainly closer to the action than us, and he's made his decision. I've got some nerves about the remainder of this game, Grant. I felt confident that the All Blacks would get their game together after half-time and really wind it up a bit, and they just don't seem to be able to do that. It's going to get more difficult for them to be able to get up and seriously contest with Australia over the last 15 to 20 minutes remaining in this game. And
not really creating any try-scoring opportunities for themselves.
No, there just hasn't been an evidence of what they're trying to achieve in this game today. Whereas on the other hand, as the game has gone on, the Australians have looked to be getting just a little bit more confidence and a little bit more cohesion, and they're having a very good second half so far.
Matthew Burt with 3 penalties in the match, plus the try. One of the 2, the other scored by George Gregan. Australia. 22 points to 9, getting up towards halfway through the second spell.
Well, we're getting to that real danger point now. Still, 2 converted tries can get New Zealand in front, while the lead is just 13. If it gets out any greater than that, then it gets very difficult.
Now the All Blacks have to call on all their experience, all the reserves they have in this game. Taken down by Michael Foley for Australia. They played with so much control. Incredible what can happen in 3 weeks. Still on his feet, Josh Kronfeld, but he's offside. Didn't retire behind most feet. Not too impressed with the referee's decision there.
Josh wasn't, but it was pretty clear to us. He felt he had been there all the time.
Opened up by Zinzan, away for Cullen. And that's not a good kick either from Christian Cullen. That's a return down by Burke. Down to Little. Again, opening it up. Marshall. Away for Brook. Defence and midfield is going to be strong. Oh, Little. Taken by Toms. But they're offside, the Australians.
Australia were penalised for moving forward in front of the kicker when Matthew Burke's kick failed to find touch.
Richard Toms, the man offside. Mertens takes it quickly. Can't see it at the moment, but Matthew Burke has received an injury. He's way back. Here's Toms on to Little, but he's ruled offside. Burke arrives and gets knocked back, and it falls very awkward. We see him go back here on his haunches. All the agony. Frank Bunce tried to help him up. Now there's a player gone down, no doubt. So he'll assist Burke to get back. Andrew Heath it was.
This would be a serious blow for Australia if Matthew Burke was to go off now. But here's another opportunity now for New Zealand to exert some pressure on Australia and get themselves in a position to score some points. There haven't been too many attacking opportunities, and there just seems to be such a hesitancy, Grant, in the backs. Again, their positioning and alignment has not really been given themselves an opportunity to mount effective attacks.
Lomu way out on the left wing. Fitzpatrick hoping he can get the ball out to him somehow. Done the first part of the job with Robin Brook fighting his way over the 22. That'll be a penalty against Australia.
John Eales penalised there. He had done a good job. He had driven Robin Brook back a metre and put him to ground, and as the tackler he just cannot handle that ball, and he couldn't resist it. And that gives Andrew Mertens an opportunity to close this gap a little bit, and boy, they really need it now. And he'll be aware of that. It's a pressure kick for Andrew, but a comfortable one.
David Campese doesn't have many attacking opportunities in this match. John Eales has been a colossus in the lineouts. Tim Gavin coming on to replace Garrett Morgan. What a good game from this guy. Michael Foley, the hooker. All aggression. Now it's Mertens. 3 first half penalty goals. And that's a good kick by Andrew Mertens. That helps the cause no end. 22 points to 12. Make that 20 minutes left. All Blacks will be concerned about their inability to cross the line. They weren't able to do it against the Springboks in Christchurch last week. So far, haven't been able to do it in this game. Hacked back. Good hands by Justin Marshall. And one All Black who's had a good game today. Although he runs himself into trouble here. Mertens pops in and plays at halfback. Campese waits, Lomu's waiting for him.
Excellent kick from Andrew Mertens. Picks up 30 metres and the put into the line out.
Lomu signals out to Wilson, you stay out on the left. So they're mixing it about. Robin Brook. Better coordination by the All Blacks. Now it's the Australians' turn to try and nullify this phase. And they dragged it down, so the penalty's starting to come the All Blacks' way now. Mertens will have another go.
Well, I have to say that I have some difficulty seeing how that happened. Oh, I see now. He's seen the Australian prop pulling players out the side of that, which does cause it to collapse.
And a bit of a scrape on the head of Sean Fitzpatrick. We just saw that.
There's been a few down that head over the years, Grant.
As Murray Demanjuli has a Test career going back to 1986, but now Andrew Mertens has the opportunity here to push the All Blacks within a converted try. Never any doubt about it. 5 penalty goals to Mertens, as he did last week. It's 22 points to 15.
Well, that's exactly what New Zealand needed. And the pressure now is coming back on Australia as they see their lead get whittled. And we'll just see now if the young players in the Australian team can handle the pressure that's going to mount on them over the remaining 15 to 16 minutes of this game.
Can the All Blacks finish over the top of Australia? Zinzan has a look. Takes it in on the 22. Back for Mertens, wide open spaces, read it well. Now the bounce is important. They're coming quickly. Burke gets there first. Keeps it in. No, the touch judge's flag is up. Ray Megson, well, he caused a bit of booing at Christchurch last week. And he's ruled that this is out. Let's see whether he's right or not.
Matthew Burke's been... Yes, we just caught that ball heading over the line there. But Matthew Burke's been prepared to take the risks and put those little kicks up there, and that one almost cost him.
Lost by Robin Brook. Referee playing advantage Australia's way.
Ball's miles away, gentlemen. The ball's miles away. Wait. Engage. Get it in. Stay back. Get it. Hold on.
Toms will run hard at Mertens again. That's been a tactic. The Walter Little gets him this time. Back for Roth. Get out to sell a dummy to an old fellow like Sean Fitzpatrick. You can read them all right. Regan, change of direction. Campese coming quickly. Now that's got to be a penalty. Oh, he's called Mark. And a heavy fall.
One to touch judge, please, for the 10. One to touch judge for the 10.
Just winded, I think, Laurie.
Yes, he came down on his back. He's recovered.
Cullen, big kick, not finding the touchline though. So Burke. Zinzan Brook waiting for it. This is against Craig Down. Interference.
Yes, that's what we call running shotgun. On that occasion, it was just a little bit obvious.
Okay.
Let's go back just a minute or so. This is Campese coming in. He landed pretty heavily.
Yes, he actually tried to pull out of that tackle. He just put his hands up to stop himself and lost his footing.
Of Australia's 22 points coming from Matthew Burke.
That's unfortunate for the All Blacks. They were just getting the momentum they needed to make a late charge at this match, and if Matthew Burke is successful with this penalty goal, it just makes it so much harder for them.
Hands by your side, please.
You probably have to say they don't deserve to come back, Grant, the way they've been playing, but there's always that opportunity there to do it, and these players are good enough to turn this game round in the final 10 minutes.
Very important kick. He's done it again. (25-15), 12 and a half minutes left, and he's been kicking magnificently all day.
We've seen two very high quality goal kicking exhibitions today.
Controlled by Michael Foley. All Blacks itching to get round, bordering on offside, but they managed to stay back. Now, can Christian Cullen spark something from the back? Gets away. 12 metres in Australian territory. Mertens away for Lamu. Now there's an opportunity. 18 metres out from the line. Down the blind side. Marshall! Justin Marshall! Christian Cullen sparked it, and Justin Marshall finished it.
Well, that's just what New Zealand needed, and that's the sort of play we expect from them.
Just as he did in Wellington 3 weeks ago, Justin Marshall gets a try. And what a lovely little run, really. Gregan never got a hand on him.
Yes, it started way back inside the New Zealand 22 when Howard's kick didn't put Cullen under any pressure. He was able to counter, make play up through the middle of the field, and New Zealand won the ruck, and Lomu had a good, strong 20 or 30 metre run and created that opportunity for Justin Marshall.
Mertens to add the extra 2. And now we're back to a 3-point ball game. 10 and a half minutes to go. Nervous times for the All Black reserves. Paul Allen there, the try, scored by Justin Marshall, his 4th in a short career. Now the New Zealand supporters get to their feet. Conventional kick out this time, all line the one direction. Ben Chun, tremendous. Up for Gregan, Pat Howard. Right under the post, Cullen takes it beautifully and gets the mark. Pinpoint kick from Howard. Cullen back for Mertens, sailing away downfield with Roth after it. Nobody at home here. Everybody looking at each other. And Zinzan Brook will have to force it.
Let's just go back to that take under the crossbar from Christian Cullen. What a tremendous take that was, and everything was classical there, and the focus and concentration was there.
Mertens away downfield, huge kick. Now Burt, man of the match. Up for Fitzpatrick. Bang, into tune. Sets it well, the captain. Campese has cleverly dropped back. He's taken it back inside the 22. So it's got to be a line out down there on the 22, has to be. All Blacks have taken it quickly anyway. Referee says we'll carry on with the action. There's Longley running at them. Fires it back for a little. Beautiful hands rolled a little. Now it's Fitzpatrick. 5 metres out from the 22. The All Blacks really going for it now. Robin Brook. It's there for Marshall. Little. Cullen. Big defence by Australia. And it's in touch. Well, it's got to the stage where they have to try everything.
Well, I really thought that was it then for New Zealand. Beautifully set lock in midfield. But the Australians were desperate in defence. But we've got an injury here that looks serious. Robin Brook is down in the middle of the field.
Big charge by the captain. He got hit by Tim Gavin. And a big one.
He's been watching some rugby league.
So concerned about Robin Brook, key member of the All Black team. 8 minutes remaining. It's a thriller at Suncorp in Brisbane. Coming to you exclusively live on Sky. Some discussion here about whose ball it is. On the old stage is Sean Fitzpatrick. He's going to try and grab the throw in. That's why the Aussies wanted to throw it. Gregan. Cleverly done as he put it out though. Oh, that's a penalty. Tackle a bloke in mid-air, and that's exactly what's happened. There's no defence when you come down, is there?
No, there isn't. And again, that's a really bad lack of discipline from the Australians. I mean, they just had, all they had to do was wait for Jeff Wilson to take it and then take him over the touchline and get another line-out put in. And instead, they put their lead in jeopardy here with the way Andrew Mertens is kicking. They would expect that this one will down the middle also. Although it is a difficult angle.
It is a horrendous angle, really. Just starting to fade away. Campese takes it. He wants to open it up. He's got out of it, has he? Zinzan stays in the field of play. It's there for Mertens. Looks back for Zinzan. Getting themselves into a bit of strife here. Now he sends it away down the touchline. Good Aussie rules catch by Campese. He can wait as long as he likes here. There's no All Blacks around. And he returns it with interest. History over the years of All Black Australian clashes, certainly in recent years, in tight finishes. Michael Jones wins a line out for the All Blacks. Robin Brook. They really are starting to get into it now. Just over 5 minutes left. Mertens, Bunce, well held. Has to go to ground. Frank Bunce right on halfway. And here's a penalty. This is right in front, admittedly on halfway. But another chance.
He's coming back to the black side. You went today. Yeah, come on. You want the post?
Mertens will give it a go.
Back on the 10. Hey, on. That's right.
a fair bit of confusion in recent years, Laurie, about the Bledisloe Cup. My understanding now is that it's won over a series rather than individual matches, as it was in the past.
Yes, I'm very confident New Zealand's going to retain the Bledisloe Cup crown.
Andrew Mertens, under 5 minutes left. Certainly got the distance. Oh! 25 all. Just over 4 minutes left.
Well, just when we thought New Zealand was leaving their run too late, they've staged a remarkable comeback and managed to tie the scores, and with every opportunity of getting their nose in front.
Australia held a big lead in the game. Ian Jones controls it.
Okay.
We've had draws in New Zealand-Australia Test in Brisbane before. 88
Coming. Held
was the
up.
last one.
Held
And an
up.
Australian scrum. Well, it's
Not
I
from
don't
a
know who the drop
kick-off.
kick expert is
No,
around here.
shut it.
Maybe Matthew
The
Burke,
law
maybe
changed
Pat
this year.
Howard,
It's not from a kick-off.
maybe Campo. They'll discuss it, I'm sure. Maybe it's a bit far out just yet, though.
Wait. Back. Back. Crouch.
Perhaps run it to a ruck, Laurie, and then try a drop kick.
Yes, I think that would be the idea, is to try and take it up and work it into midfield
Stay
more.
bound. Stay bound. Stay bound.
If they're not, they're going to clear it to their
Gone up.
backs.
It's gone up. Don't know how you
Richard
can see it.
Toms getting himself set to run hard at Mertens. That seems to be the tactic.
It's all right. Hey, shut it. Crouch. Give it up. Give it up. Give it up. Give it up. Give it up.
What a finish to the game. Regan. Up to Howard. Tackle made by Kronfeld.
Hands off,
Now
Mike.
they've got
Hands
themselves
off.
in a better position. Regan looking for Campese. Drop kick from Campo. Pushed it wide. Didn't have time to set himself.
Right.
And the All Blacks breathe again. 2 minutes remaining. Mertens. Big one. Fired in field to Tune. But indecisive as he met the All Blacks 10-metre line. They hit him hard too.
Hands off. Held up. It's not on the ground.
Held up, who's ball? All Blacks. Well, half the crowd here are New Zealand supporters. It's greeted with a huge roar, that decision.
Well, I think that was an error of judgment from Ben Tune there, and that could be the game. It certainly gives the All Blacks the opportunity to create for themselves a drop kick opportunity.
Zinzan Brooks decided to run it across into the centre.
Hands off.
The All Blacks edging closer. Mertens. Butts. Mertens again. Mertens did not get it. There's a chance. Come on. Come on. Ducks under. Gets up. They're all there. Frank Butts. Yes. Frank Butts. Unbelievable comeback. Frank Bunce has got the winner.
And as we have a look at this again, we'll just see the great play from Andrew Mertens. The timing was brilliant.
Right into the gap he went, set Cullen up. Then Christian Cullen, he had Wilson outside him. That looked as though it was it. Bunce was there screaming for it, and they just couldn't hold him. Down he went. Jim Fleming was there. He said yes. That'll do us. Tremendous run by Mertens. Wilson probably would have run it in on the right wing. Bunch stayed there though. So this kick, as the try is scored, this should be it. The hoot is gone. Andrew Mertens has certainly recovered from the nightmare that he had in Christchurch. An extra two for Andrew Mertens. to win by 32 points to 25. Well, obvious disappointment, Laurie, amongst the Australians. They must have felt they had that.
Yes, 20 minutes to go. They had the game there for the taking. But I think what this underlines is the great potential and ability, not potential, I should say, straight-out ability that is in this All Black side, that they could be so down and out and playing so averagely, and then come back and in 20 minutes of rugby, I don't know how many points it was, Grant, but they must have put somewhere around 20 points on the board and come out with the win. That is a tremendous comeback.
Frank Bunt scored the winner, and we're almost set to go down to Chris O'Malley. It'll be a very happy All Black camp, no doubt. Let's go now to Chris.
Frank Bunce, you left it fairly late, but what a wonderful time to score a try for New Zealand.
Yeah, we did leave it fairly late. We didn't really get into the game, you know, for 50 or 60 odd minutes, and started picking up the pace. And you know, we knew if we held the ball a lot longer and didn't make so many little mistakes, we'd be in with a better shot. So a little late, but better late than never.
Frank, something like 13 points behind with about 20 minutes to go. It's a bit hard to keep your cool in that situation, I imagine.
Oh, especially the way the Australians were playing. They really took the game to us, and their defence was outstanding. Commitment was great, you know, and we were just lacking. But you know, rev up at half-time, and a bit of pride comes into it as well. So we come home in the end.
Frank, you got a very early reminder of how physical the Australians are going to be out there. No prisoners taken today.
No, well, I mean, that's the nature of a test match, you know, and I mean, I gave him an elbow first, so I deserved everything I got.
Okay, Frank, look, good luck in South Africa. You put on a tremendous display.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks, Frank.
Well, some brutal honesty there from Frank Bunce, who scored the match winner for the All Blacks. And what better time for New Zealand's oldest ever test back to score a winning try in a game. 32 points to 25. Australia led 16-9 at half-time, and we'll be back very shortly.